But let's go out to Iowa. Kaelan Dorr is on the scene for Real America's Voice. President Trump already one event down, on his way to the second event. First event looked like it was about 400 degrees in there. I'm hoping it's not 400 degrees in the second event. Kaelan will let us know. Let's bring him on. Kaelan, how are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm pleased to announce it is not 400 degrees here. However, it is like 10 degrees outdoors. So,
yeah.
But I got to level with you. It is packed in here, man. It is absolutely crazy. 45's ground game is strong, man. It's out of control. It's like a party in here.
Well, that's good to hear. It looks it. He was fired up in his first speech, went for a while, talked about a lot of things. I don't know if he's going to change it up when he comes over there for speech number 2. There's certainly, I argued there's a lot for him. I mean, he always kind of hits some of those same similar topics and kind of, goes back through history. But there's a lot of things he could talk about today as far as what happened in Colorado today with the Secretary of State tweet today and the Supreme Court taking up the case, the jobs report this morning. What's your sense on the ground? I know you've been interviewing people, talking to people. What's your sense on the ground, the things that things that matter to people right now as you're 10, 11 days out from the caucus? And what do you expect to hear from the president tonight?
Well, I think people here, we spent some time asking everyone in line if they'd ever met a Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley supporter in real life, and we came up empty-handed. So that seems to be not of a concern of anyone here on the ground. People are really concerned about this rhetoric coming from President Joe Biden at the moment, and I think that's going to be a big focus of what President Trump speaks about later tonight. He's going to talk about how Joe Biden has basically ceded any issue-level debate going into this election and is basically going to demean and demonize millions of Americans who support Donald Trump going into this election, simply because I believe, and I'd love to hear y'all's take on this, this is his way of justifying some unprecedented measure or violence even against conservatives headed into the election. I'd love to get y'all's take on that because it's something that's definitely a concern. We've talked to a few people here today who brought it up.
I mean, it was maniacal, the speech today. Deranged, angry, desperate. It was, it sounded like it could have been lifted out of the speechwriters. Oh, I don't want to even give them that much credit, but the people who write for Nicole Wallace and stupid Joe Scarborough in the morning. I mean, it sounds like it was written by someone who would have, someone who would have done one of their morning rants. I mean, it was just so over the top, but in a way, for me, it just reeked of such desperation that he can't talk about any issues. He comes out in his first speech for re-election and he just focuses on Donald Trump specifically, J6 specifically. He just lies over the top. No talk about border, no talk about inflation, no talk about economy, no talk about the people, no talk about anything of any value that matters to the American voter. Just Hitler, 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 Nazi, 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 the same, I'm here to save democracy. I mean, really just maniacal stuff from him today.
Well, you can't portray yourself to be Captain America. I think that's how Joe Biden thinks he is, but he can't walk up and down stairs, man. That's not how this works. And what really, truly terrifies me is not the lying or the inflammatory rhetoric. It's what he's going to have to do in order to justify continuing to run in this race. I think we look at August, June, July of this year, or 2024. He's going to do some truly irreparable harm to our economy, trying to artificially boost his numbers and actually give himself an argument. Because you're right, he has nothing. There are no issues. There's nothing but empty rhetoric, and the guy is asleep at the wheel. We've got a cadaver in chief, and our nation deserves infinitely better than this. And I think everyone here believes the same way. They're turning up in droves here, and it's like freezing cold. So this is what real America looks like, and we're happy to be here.
The guys on the show here have been firmly in the camp. I have not been, but I'm usually the sap of the group anyway, so it's not a surprise. The guys here have been in the firm camp that Biden is not going to be the nominee, and if it happens, it's going to happen at the convention and the delegates, super delegates. That deal is that's where we're going to throw pops under the proverbial bus and then roll out. I don't know. It seems like the left wants to roll out Nikki Haley right now, but but maybe I don't know, Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama or somebody. I don't know. So what's your feeling on all that? Does that sound like a plausible plan to you?
I mean, Yeah, but what I would say in response to that is I think us losing some of these elections, a few months ago, may have been the greatest gift to the Republican Party in that I think some on the left think they can still get away with running Joe Biden, right? There's an argument there for those people who want to keep him in office because he's the most easily manipulated guy, and it's that they didn't lose anything in those midterms. They still held on to Kentucky. They won a couple of ballot measures in places like Ohio. I feel like they think their formula is running on abortion issues and maintaining his presence in the basement and maybe doing a few, some tinkering with the economy in a few months. I think they can get away with keeping him, but it's a boon for us as members of the Republican Party. I think we might have caught them on their heels here.
I think you could be right about that. I think they still think the numbers thing and the fact that they think this Trump is so toxic that they think the numbers thing will just play itself out with just that alone. I think you could be right about that.